Welcome, welcome, welcome to the last episode of the Quip Corner with Ada this year. And I'm sure you can see that this is an episode of Quip Corner on the go. Today we'll be putting a bow on this month's episodes. So please join me in the Quip Corner and let's do this together. See you in a bit. Thanks very much for staying tuned. As I said earlier, we'll be putting a bow on this month's episodes. And to do that, we'll be reading Quip 30 from my first book, 101 Quips and Quotes that will charge and change your life. Quip 30 says, "The best lives are lived on purpose for a purpose." The best lives are lived on purpose for a purpose. Purpose is one of those words that over the years has become quite a buzzword. You know, it's like everybody's like, yes, what's your purpose? I know my purpose. I'm living in my purpose, and so on and so forth. But really, what is purpose? For me, simplicity matters. And if I were to use a different word for purpose, it would be why. Why? The purpose of a thing is why that thing exists, why it is used, and so on and so forth. And I know from personal experience that it can be almost irritating when you have people who are always asking you, but why, especially little children. You ask them to do something and say, but why? The truth is, when you know why, it guides what you do, how you do it, when you do it, and where you do it. Dr. Miles Monroe of blessed memory said, "When the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable." Let that sink in. Dare I say, sometimes it may not be as far out as abuse. It may just be misuse. When the purpose of a thing is not known. Let's take a simple example. A child could walk up to their parent and say, "Mom or Dad, why do you work so hard? Why do you work so long? Why do you pray so long? Why do you do whatever it is? So hard, so long, this way, that way." And the parent could respond, "I'm doing that so that, or we're doing that so we can provide for the family." So that's the purpose. But the interesting thing about that purpose is it's not an end in itself. Remember the quip? The best lives are lived on purpose for a purpose. When you think about working hard so that you can provide the necessities your family needs, it also means that you cannot exclude self-care, because self-care keeps you in the place mentally, physically, emotionally well enough to fulfill that purpose of working hard to provide for the family. Earlier this month, we heard from Aishat about, just doing the work. When you're clear on your purpose, it's easier to excuse yourself from excuses and do what you need to do. Everyone's got to do something. You can't just fold your arms and be expecting things to just come to you. No. The entitlement culture is one that could lead to one's death sooner than they'd like. We also heard from Pastor Dapo about paying the price. Because for every prize you want in life, like the quip said, you need to be willing to pay the price. But it still goes back to purpose. You need to be intentional about what it is you are willing to pay for. Mrs. Jill talked to us about adding value and how grandparents and parents, people around us, add value to our lives. That's living a life of purpose. It's important to recognize that each of us has something to give. And withholding it is not just to the detriment of others, but it's also to our detriment. Imagine a tree that refuses to bear fruit. It's on the path to self-destruction. And there's no tree that eats its own fruit. So as we wrap up this year and start planning next year, I'm sure some of us may already have our New Year resolutions and things like that. Do your part to make sure that your life counts. Live a life of purpose, on purpose. I look forward to reading your comments and thoughts, and maybe even challenges when it comes to living a life of purpose, on purpose. And remember, besides YouTube, you can also get to listen to and watch these videos on Spotify. It's been a thorough blessing doing life with you this year. Let's do this again next year. Wishing you a successful transition into 2024. See you next year. God bless you.